What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sang, and today we're gonna be reacting to a video from Bless God Studios, aka Ruslan, and it's titled "This Proverb Could Save Your Career, But Ruin Your Dream." Ooh, that sounds interesting. Let's see what they're about to talk about.
And this verse changed my life, okay? You can learn almost anything nowadays on YouTube. And then Job points you to the reality that you could be doing all the right things, and tragedy and life.
Ruslan.
And this verse changed my life, okay? It says, this is Proverbs 28:19. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty.
Ooh, that's facts. That's facts all
let's
day.
juxtapose that with this verse in Psalms, right? Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Notice that almost sounds like it has a condition in it, right?
My bad, y'all. I heard a noise and I pulled up. Look, hold on. I pulled up with my Negan bat. That's what I had back here with me at the moment, because I was ready to go to work. Turns out it was my cat. I had cartoons on for him, but now that's over. Seinfeld is on. He don't like Seinfeld. So he was pushing down on the remote, and he had knocked it down off of where it was. So I had to change I had to put new cartoons on for him, basically.
Right? You got to delight in God first. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added onto you. Okay? So those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. Now, Proverbs, is important to note that Proverbs isn't always one-for-one literal, if you do this, this will happen, right? Proverbs is speaking in generalities a lot of times. And this is what I mean. The wisdom literature is meant to be read together. Proverbs juxtaposed with Ecclesiastes, juxtaposed with Job. Because Proverbs says, hey, man, if you do this, if you live God's ways, generally speaking, you'll have abundant food, right? And then Ecclesiastes says, hey, by the way, it's all for nothing. Trying to chase being successful, trying to chase wealth, trying to chase pleasure, it's all for nothing. It's all meaningless. And then Job points you to the reality that you could be doing all the right things, and tragedy and life may still strike you. So it's not always linear. We want it to be. We just want the formula. Right? Meaning that you can do all the right things. You can do your budget the right way, and something tragic can still happen to you, right? It's a tension that we live in, right? And we don't know why these things happen, but they do happen. So let's think about this verse. When it comes to your passions, your dreams, okay? Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. Okay, so my question is what you are attempting to do, or what your dream is, or what your vision is that your land? Is that truly your land? Because your land generates stuff for you. When you work your land, it generates stuff for you. Some of you guys have hobbies that you want to turn into your vocation. You want to turn into your income. You want it to replace your income. Okay, so my question is, the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you really want to happen, the thing that you're dreaming about, is that your land? Or is that something else? Because if it's your land, it's going to generate something for you. It's not just going to dwindle and take away resource. It's going to produce resource.
You know how I view it? I view it as, say one of your hobbies is like doing stuff with cars. So you like painting rims or putting wraps on, something to that nature, right? You just like doing car stuff. I feel like if in your spare time you learn all these skills on how to fix cars and do things with cars, you get really good at it. And you still have your 9 to 5, whatever that may be. And your 9 to 5 is not connected with your hobby. And people come to you and they see it. They be like, wow, that's dope. Who did that? Oh, you did that? Would you mind doing XYZ on my car? So you might do like the first couple for free because it's your friends and family. And then you do such good jobs, people might put like, they buy their own stuff, like whatever they want you to do. And you the one that puts it on or fixes it or whatever, right? So then that turns into their friends and family are like, who did this? And they start recommending you. And then that turns into you like now charging. Like you don't know what to charge, but now that this is happening, you're like, okay, I have some free time on weekends. I guess I'll do XYZ on a Saturday or a Sunday. And you properly charge and they like it. And it turns into this big thing, right? That hobby is now your land that you are working, because now this is turning into a viable thing that you can live off of, right? This is very different from people who, I know nowadays a lot of kids want to be like social media influencers. This is very different from them, where they just want to live in an online space all day, but they don't know how to market themselves. They're not entertaining. They really don't know what to do, and it's not generating anything. But then they're just like, nah, I just want to, this is what I want to do, and they don't know how to properly do that. To me, that matches when it says those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. People that do things like that, you're like, you keep wanting to do this thing you're just not good at. Now, funnily enough, maybe they're good at something else, but they're just so focused on the wrong thing, it's just not working. That's what I think this breaks down to. Now, we can go back to hear what he has to say, but I think that's what the breakdown of this actually is.
Right? It's the difference between being a consumer and a producer, right? So when you're thinking about working your land, first you got to ask yourself, is what you want to do genuinely in land? Because a lot of us can have all kinds of ideas and delusions of grandeur and all these different things, and that's fine. But you also have to get sober at one point. If you're expecting to make an income out of your passion or out of your dream, do you have a proven track record that this is your land? Or are you just chasing a fantasy, right? And so, but
That's
those who chase fantasies will have their fill of fantasy. Now, fantasy is something that is attached to being delusional. It's attached to being out of it. It's removed from reality, sci-fi, fantasy, movies, video games. We detach ourselves and we escape to be in another place, right? So a fantasy is something that's detached from reality. Your land is tangible, meaning that it produces something, it grows something, it has a return on investment. And initially, this isn't a direct pathway for a lot of us, meaning that initially, if you're trying to, start editing video or learning to code, you're going to have to spend some time and develop some sweat equity in the said skill before it starts producing food. But you also need to understand that it produces food. Now, a lot of us who are creative, we don't understand that in order to make something our land, there's usually other skills, and I call this skill stacking, or think of it like if you have a lock and a chain, right? And there's different things that connect, right? So if you're an artist, if you're a musician, you can be the most amazing musicians, but if you don't understand how to tell your story, if you don't understand how to market, if you don't understand how to be active on social media, if you don't understand the other things that come along with it, it doesn't matter how great your music is. You still need other skills attached to it.
Everything he's saying, I basically just said to y'all. That's crazy.
Right? You still need other skills attached to it. So many of us have one skill set. You might be an amazing guitar player. Okay, great. Can you write a song? Can you compose a beat? Can you develop relationships? Are you friendly? Do you have access to people? Can you develop your platform on social media? All of these other things come along with it in order to make something your land. Seldom will you have one skill or one talent, if you will, and then assume that that's your land. So what we got to get into is skill stacking. You want to do something great? Awesome. You want to follow your dreams? Great. Are there tangible opportunities? And so in hindsight, I was doing a talk a couple weeks ago. I was hanging out with Pastor Jeff Moores, and he asked me to come speak to the young adults at Rhythm Church, and we did this panel, and we talked about adulting. And I said, don't follow your dreams, follow the opportunity. Don't follow your dreams, follow the opportunity. And people were confused. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to study to be a social worker. I'm going to go to this. All these people are following their opportunities, right? You're following opportunities that are in the marketplace. But if you just follow your dreams, there may not be an opportunity attached to it, or you may have to develop and work the opportunity for yourself. And so, believe it or not, I say all this, which may seem like following your dreams is bad. Don't do stuff with regards to creativity or music or YouTube. I'm actually not saying that at all. It's actually the best time ever to be on YouTube. It's the best time ever to be releasing music, ever. right now. But do not approach it like you're some sort of savant and you need to figure out how to just get better at said craft. You need to add additional skills to create a unicorn of a skill set and develop a pathway to success.
I will agree with that. I will agree with all of that, especially in terms of like music and whatnot. I know so many indie artists here in the city throughout the years, and they're like essentially unknown, right? A couple people from the city may know them. Let's say 20 people know them, right? I've known indie artists here that have spent months creating a product, right? Whether it's a mixtape, album, whatever you want to call it, EP. And they put all this time and this work and they spend all this money on studio time. And then when they're done and they have this amazing cover to go with it because they paid somebody for that as well, then it's just like, oh, what are you going to do for your album rollout? Because you have to market this, right? You have to create some sort of fan base. You got to do some shows to go around it, right? And then they'll just look at us and be like, oh, I was just going to randomly drop it one day on my Twitter. What do you mean you're going to randomly drop it on your Twitter? What? Why? What's the marketing rollout? That's it. That's the marketing rollout. So you put in all this work, and the 20 people that supposedly rock with you, they're going to be the only ones to see this. You are aware of that, right? You're not doing anything else to try to capture beyond that. Oh, no, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to get hits. I'm going to get this. It's like, yeah, you're not Beyonce. You're not Drake. You're not Kendrick. You can't just do a random release one night where your people be like, hey, y'all, check it. I'm dropping at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Either you there or you not. Hey, y'all, check it. My album dropping 1 hour. We about to be live. Hey. If only 20 people know you, they're going to be the only ones that care. And then out of that 20, there's a good chance that all of them aren't even going to be like, notice or care or listen. Because that's usually how it is. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I've known many people were great artists. You know, they actually make good songs and stuff. Don't know anything else in terms with being an artist. Don't know how to play the rest of the game. And it's easy, like he's sitting here saying you need to develop these skills. Yes, in the beginning, I think you need to know how to work a little bit of everything. So when you do expand your team and hire out for these different certain positions, you're not getting screwed over because you know how certain things work, right? So you need to have an understanding of it because it's just going to be you in the beginning for an extremely long time. So it's, it's sad. I've seen so many local artists not go anywhere because they aren't developing the skills that he's talking about.
If you think I just need to be good at one thing, then goodness gracious, it ain't gonna work for you. Generally speaking, unless you're Kendrick Lamar's cousin. Shout out Baby Keem. Shout out to all the nepotism out there. We shot a new studio tour today. And sometimes I'll sit back and I think like, holy moly, there's so many details that go into having a studio. There's so many details that go into all the particulars about music, about video, about live streaming. There's a lot of stuff there. And if I just was the guy who just wanted to do my talks and just want to teach the Bible and I wasn't willing to humble myself and learn everything that comes along with communicating on YouTube, I would have never been successful at YouTube. This is real. If you want to be a musician and you're not willing to come along and figure out how to do everything that comes with music, you're not going to be successful at being a musician.
Facts.
And you'll get disillusioned, and then you'll start thinking it's these people's fault or those people's fault or people are asleep on you. You can't get a big break. Yeah. No one will co-sign you. And that's a toxic mentality to have. And so I want you guys to consider this, right? Those who work their land will have their abundant food. But those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. Are you working your land? Are you working your land? Or at least are you developing the skills to be able to said work land? Okay? You can learn almost anything nowadays on YouTube. You can learn almost anything nowadays on the internet. You could figure out so many different things that if you could package it together and you have the spark and the work ethic, we could do some amazing things for the kingdom. Yeah. But to package everything together, that requires a very specific type of person that's highly driven but is stable, have some fire and they have a chip on their shoulder, but they're not toxic and combative. It requires a very specific type of person to kind of pull these things off. And so if you're excited about this sort of stuff, if you're passionate about this sort of stuff, I just want you guys to know, like, it's work. It's a lot of work, and it's not easy. It's actually very hard. It's very difficult. Very few people make it, statistically speaking. There's millions of YouTube channels.
That's why they say when people be like, oh, I'm an overnight success, they're not really an overnight success. They always send off being like, what people didn't see was the X amount of years of hard work that went into this before y'all came to find me, and now y'all think I'm overnight success. Because it does take a lot of work to do anything you want to do, whether in this landscape or whatever your hobby and interest is, and you're trying to like make it. It does take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to the point that you want to get to. And even when you get to that point, that's really just the true beginning, because that's the beginning of your true journey. Like, everything building up to that was pre-journey, but once you make it, that's the beginning of your true journey.
Millions of YouTube channels out there. There's millions of musicians up there. I think they just crossed the threshold on Spotify where there is now 100,000 songs being uploaded to Spotify every single day.
That's wild.
But it's the best time ever to be a musician. Could you imagine? Right? Best time ever to be a musician.
It is. Being a musician now is way easier than like back in the day. Back in the day, you had to actually go to record companies. Like, you had to try to catch an executive or somebody face to face, or go to a talent showcase, something where you're in front of these people, right? Because like they got sent demo tapes and stuff, but you're just sitting in another pile of demo tapes. So you had to do something to actually catch their attention. Versus now, with the internet, you can upload. You don't even need record companies now. You could be an indie artist, which I would highly suggest. Be an indie artist, stay an indie artist, do not go major. Trust me, going major is a scam. But you have it now where you can like do your own thing with DistroKid and sites just like that. And you don't need a machine to help push you. You can actually make a viable career yourself online. So when he says this is the best time to be a musician, it really is. It really is. But yeah, I agree with everything Ruslan said. Whatever that thing is that you just want to make it, where you profit off of that, that's your land. Just put the work into it. You can't be the one person that be like, yeah, I want to do this. But then you come home every day and you sit down and you watch TV, or you go kick it with your friends and you go drink and party all night, and you never put any time into this. And then years go by and you be salty and be like, man, nobody was ever messing with me when it came to this. It's like, well, you weren't doing anything. You literally weren't. The ones that sacrifice their time, their energy, everything, they are the ones that make it. But that's all I gotta say on that topic. If you want to see me react to more videos just like this one, let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss when I drop a video. And if I have to miss a day or a time slot, I can update you now through the community tabs right here on my channel. So make sure to check that out to stay up to date, because you already know who it is. It's Sang.